Hi guys, welcome back with the real Dana and Diamond Dave. Hey Diamond Dave.
What's going on, Dana? How you doing?
I'm doing great. So today we're going to talk about tax. It's tax season.
Yep.
I hate tax season because I'm owing the IRS. Um, what's the slogan I could say? Burning hell IRS. I don't know, but
I feel you.
I hate the IRS. But anyway, um, got to stick to the Black culture news. Black Americans are much more likely to face tax audits, study finds. Interesting. So, Black taxpayers, and I have my notes, Black taxpayers are 3 times more likely to be audited by the IRS. Right? Well, discrimination in the computer algorithms. IRS officials made decisions throughout the past decade to rely on automated systems to select returns for audits. And okay, so one thing we have to understand is when people do fill out their taxes, they don't ask you your race. So, how does the algorithm know that you're Black? Well, they don't. Um, how Black people are disproportionately singled out is because of errors. Errors in tax credit, like the earned income tax credit, were disproportionately flagged. Explanations why Black taxpayers are targeted so much more frequently. Number one, harder for the agencies to audit returns that include business income because it requires expertise. It requires expertise from individuals, auditors. Number two, Black taxpayers appear to disproportionately file returns with errors that IRS system easily can identify. So basically, they're saying the IRS, they don't manually find people to audit. They rely on an automation through an algorithm. And that algorithm is programmed to focus more on people who have errors in their tax return and people who file earned income tax credit. Come to find out on why, okay, majority of those bulk of people are Black is because it just so happened Black people have more errors on their tax report, and more Black people file for the EITC, Earned Income Tax Credit. Non-Black, white, Asian, or whatever, but mainly white, a lot of them have businesses or make more money. So they are hire a professional to come in, which means they're not going to have any errors. When you file for a business, it's harder for the IRS to pick up the audits because you're listing a lot of expenses that you could have write-offs. And usually people, like I said, who make more money can invest in a professional to not just hide the money, but not make any mistakes.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are your thoughts on that so far?
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So I'm paying a person to do my taxes this year. Hopefully everything goes well. This was an interesting article because I assume with the software that everybody's using, I'm assuming that would get rid of the errors, but I guess it's not. So I guess even with the softwares, you probably still may need somebody to go through it and make sure you haven't made a mistake. Because like you said, is that they're using the earned income tax credit, but they're also getting errors and they're picking it up. And I went a little bit deeper in this and they were finding out that a lot of the people that were being flagged all were from like certain zip codes. So like you talked about before, is it may be lower income areas, people filing for earned income tax credit, making errors. And that's how they're getting picked up using this algo that's just kind of designed to go through all these tax returns, especially now because the majority are done electronically, and flag them. And then now you're turning around and getting audited. Because I've also read is that a lot of the people on the lower income scale get audited more than people on the high income scale. And like you said before, probably because they get professional people to do their taxes.
Right. And they have businesses.
Yes, ma'am.
But well, and then that comes to, okay, Black people are making less money than white people as well. So the low income people, majority of them are Black. And then those people are also having errors on their audit forms. And it's easier for the IRS using this algorithm because their program, it just, order the people that pop up with errors. We're going to audit them, right?
Yep.
And it's the low income group of people, which just so happens to be Black. Let me just read this.
Okay.
Taxpayers are at least 3 times as likely to be audited by the IRS as other taxpayers. Even after accounting for the differences in the types of returns each group is more likely to file, a team of economists has concluded in one of the most detailed studies yet on race and the nation's tax systems. The findings do not suggest bias from individual tax enforcement agents who do not know the race of the people they are auditing. They also do not suggest any valid reason for the IRS to target Black Americans at such high rates. There is no evidence that group engages in more tax evasions than others. So Black people are not specifically targeted. This is not about a race thing because they don't know your race.
Yeah.
Instead, the findings document discrimination in the computer algorithms the agency uses to determine who is selected for an audit, according to the study by economists from Stanford University, University of Michigan, the University of Chicago, and the Treasury Department. Some of the discrimination appears to be rooted in decisions that the IRS officials made over the past decades as they sought to maintain tax enforcement in the face of budget cuts by relying on automated systems to select returns for audit. Briefly, side note, automated algorithm. We're talking about AI.
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't have the discussion yet of AI being discriminatory. Is that a problem? Is that a problem?
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, it comes down to who creates the program.
Okay.
So if I create a program to look at specific things, it can skew a certain way, and as a result, bring in more people. But I may not have intentionally made it to bring in a group of people, but just the way in which I program it. Because one of the things that we got to ask ourselves about the IRS, do they need to audit a certain amount of people every year to justify their existence?
I don't know, dude.
See, that's what I'm saying. So if they needed, similar to where we used to have before there was actually red light cameras, and we knew that police officers had a quota of how many tickets they had to write every month to justify them being on a patrol. Mm-hmm. So with the IRS, they need to audit a certain amount of people every year to justify their existence. So they got to figure out a way to generate audits. And then just as a result, this group of people is getting ensnared and brought in, but they need to audit a certain amount of people, or else why do we even have you here?
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, what could be our reason? Oh, errors, right? Because if you're making an error, then maybe you're doing something.
Exactly. Then we can start looking at you and figure, and then we can justify the reason I have a human being, because we know most taxes are done electronically now.
Right.
So you don't need a person to even look at it.
Exactly.
So now we create the algorithm to flag it. So now an actual human being can now do a job.
Okay, so when their thing is budget cuts, well, we have to find a reason why we have to do audits. What's the cheapest, easiest, fastest way, right?
Just find errors. And then now we can justify even having, let's say I got Dana, you work for the IRS, I'm paying you 6 figures. Mm-hmm. So I need you, Dana, to do at least 25 audits a year to justify your 6-figure position. So we got to create a program, make sure we get audits in.
Right.
Because if not, IRS, it just be a bunch of computers.
Now, for example, Black people, they're either underreporting their income.
Yeah.
Or claiming tax credit that taxpayer does not qualify for. The IRS focuses on audits that's easier to conduct, which finds itself auditing historically disadvantaged group of people, which would be Black people, right? And then you may ask yourself, well, why not create a program to audit everybody? So, and this is by way of the New York Times. It says the IRS could instead program its algorithms to target audits towards more complicated returns with higher potential dollar value to the government if an audit found errors. In that case, the discrimination in the system will vanish. Historically, there has been this idea that if federal agencies and other policymakers don't have access to data on race and don't explicitly take race into account when making policy decisions and allocating resources, the resulting outcome can't be structurally biased. But that's not true, because just because you don't have to have somebody identifying a particular race, you look at their income, and that's going to just lead you right back down to a historically disadvantaged group of Black people because of below income.
Yeah, well, I can just look at your income and your zip code.
Right.
Yeah.
Which goes back to home ownership.
Yeah.
Which could go back to redlining. It's a lot of other systemic factors. Without you checking off a box of Black,
exactly.
White, whatever.
Yeah.
On his first day of office, President Biden signed a series of executive orders seeking to advance racial equity in the federal government and the nation. One of them included a directive to the White House Budget Office to study methods for assessing whether agency policies and actions create or exacerbate barriers to full and equal participation by all eligible individuals. I don't know what the hell he meant for that. Sometimes people just write this to be writing. That order inspired researchers at Reg Lab, which uses machines learning and other advanced techniques to help governments improve policies. It eventually yielded the study, which the authors will present publicly on Tuesday. It was conducted by Stanford researchers. I don't feel like listening to their names. The group wanted to use machine learning to improve the federal auditing process, and they wanted to know if the process was infused by racial bias, but they couldn't easily observe it because the IRS does not ask taxpayers to declare their race on tax forms or otherwise track race in any way. Instead, the researchers built a way to essentially fill in the blanks on taxpayer race through a partnership with the Treasury that gave them access to 140 million tax returns, 780,000 audits, primarily from 2014, or ranging from 2010 to 2018. They used taxpayer names, first and last, and the census demographics of their neighborhoods to effectively guess the race of any given filer. Then they examined those results in a small sample of returns from taxpayers who had reported their race elsewhere, state election forms, in order to be confident that their estimates were correct. The eventual findings were stark and surprising. They saw an immediate correlation between racial composition of neighborhoods and the audit rates in those areas, vivid signs of significantly higher audit rates for Black taxpayers. Black Americans are disproportionately concentrated in low-wage jobs. They are more likely than whites to claim the EITC, that's the Earned Income Tax Credit. The authors wondered if that prevalence is claiming the credit might explain why Black taxpayers face more audits, because IRS data show the agency audits people who claim EITC at higher rates than other taxpayers. Why is that?
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever claimed EITC. If I did, I wasn't aware of it.
Earned income tax credit, that's only if you have a child, right?
I guess I don't know, because I said I don't know.
No. It's not just if you have a child, but you have to make below a certain amount in order to qualify for that.
Okay.
Because I remember many years ago when my kids were under 18.
Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't making much then, and I always qualified for that. But it's been so long, and so yeah. But
okay so, and is it the person that has custody, or can you just be biologically attached to the child? So this is why when tax term, people be trying to figure out kids to claim. Okay.
I wanted to bring that up too. Yeah. So if you make, say the earned income tax credit threshold is 40K.
Okay.
Right. Or if you make below that. But if you have kids, you can still claim it.
Okay.
So if you make, let's just say, and I'm just throwing a number out there, income number. If you make over 40K, but you have 2 kids, or if I don't have kids, but I could claim that I'm taking
Somebody, yeah.
Then I'll get that extra money there.
Okay.
But it says Black taxpayers face more audits because the IRS data show the agency audits people. So they're going to go after the people who claim EITC.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know your race. They just, because those are easy. It's just easy.
Yeah.
Budget, and it's easy because for some reason those people have errors.
Exactly.
It so happen majority of those people are Black.
Yeah. So they just got to learn how to do their EITC paperwork right.
Right.
Yeah.
Solution. This is in my notes. The IRS could, or maybe I did read this, but the IRS could program its algorithms to target audits towards more complicated returns with higher potential dollar value if the audit found errors. If so, the discrimination would disappear. Second solution, this is my personal solution. Black people need to make more money and hire a professional to do their taxes. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. But and we talked about before, is I think the IRS, and we don't know this because we don't know them, they may just be playing a numbers game from an auditing standpoint. So we know that going after people on the top end would be a higher dollar amount, but it may be more difficult. It may be harder to catch those people because they got professionals working on their side. So with the people on the lower end of the scale that's just doing the EITC, they may just be trying to bring those numbers. So my solution is, if you're doing earned income tax credit, make sure you're just filing it out properly so that they don't have a justification to audit you. Second, like you said, is just make more money so you don't qualify for it.
Now, these franchises, H&R Block,
yeah,
a lot of Black people frequent.
That's what I was saying. I was assuming, because a lot of people use TurboTax. I'm not trying to promote them, but they use like these online tax processes. I would think they would have you correct, but I don't know because I never used them.
Right. So, I mean, if you're using TurboTax and you're not a financial person or whatever, you're just a regular person, yeah, you're definitely going to have errors. I've even heard that some years ago, a lot of people who use TurboTax ended up getting audited because of errors.
Okay.
They didn't know how to do it properly, even though it's probably easy for you to understand. But if a lot of Black people are going to, let's say, these H&R Blocks places, are they coming up with errors? So, and those are supposed to be the professionals, right? Treasury officials are aware of the findings. The department started an advisory committee last fall to help it focus on disparities faced by Americans of color. This month, researchers from the department published an analysis of racial disparities in the tax code. It found a wide range of tax advantages that largely help higher income Americans, like the mortgage interest deduction and the preferential tax rates for investment income, disproportionately benefit white taxpayers. Department officials are in the process of increasing tax enforcement on high earners and corporations that do not pay what they owe, using money from a sprawling climate, health, and tax bill Mr. Biden signed into law last summer.
Okay.
So again, higher earners, they also have investment income, mortgage. So it's like, when you look at it, white people dominate, home ownership, investing in the stock market, what you do as well, or teaching people how to do. So Black people are not in that financial circle of things.
Okay.
That could be a problem too. Listen, yes, they do need to fix their algorithm.
Yeah.
They do need to invest money to go after high earners and start, looking behind their damn curtain, especially these corporations. But at the same time, Black people need to start elevating their income and their investment.
I feel you.
Yeah, I don't need to read the ending part, and I'm going to put this article clip in the description for you guys to read it. So overall, what is your summation?
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. Like we said before, is that they have an algorithm. It's flagging people for errors, and it's disproportionately going after Black tax people, primarily people that are using the earned income tax credit. So I think they recognize that a lot of people that are using this tax credit are doing it incorrectly. So it's an easy catch for them. And we talked about before, either figure out how to try to generate more income so you don't qualify for it, or if you're going to do it, just make sure that you're doing it properly. And we would think that some of these tax professional services that people are hiring are doing it, but that's not always true too. Mm-hmm. So I just think, really try to make sure that if you're taking these particular advantages of these tax things, make sure you're doing it properly so you don't get audited. Because what we don't want you to do is have a big tax issue.
Right.
Yeah.
This is about taxes, but this is also a little side note of the future of AI. We're going to see other institutions and just other things in society be biased towards the poor.
Yeah.
By way of AI.
Definitely.
By way of automation. So it's not. This has nothing to do with checking a box. Talk about a raceless, classless world. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Even going into the world of technology is just going to get worse. So, okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Diamond Dave.
I appreciate it.
Now, speaking of investments, right? We were just talking about this, how other people, they invest their income in investments like the stock. Tell people about your business that could help them improve their income or bring in more money.
Definitely. So I run a business called the highest paid online. And so for 3 people in our society, you don't like the amount of money you're making for your 9 to 5. You don't like the fact that there's a cap on your income year to year. And you also don't like the fact that you got to take a lot of time away from your family. We figured out how to solve that particular problem for people that want to get involved in figuring out a solution for that by teaching them about the options market, or what we call the derivative market. But we're looking for people that are willing to put forth the effort, apply themselves, be dedicated, because it's not an overnight solution. But we do have solutions to that particular problem based on what we teach. We've been very successful, and we're looking very forward to bringing more people in to help them in that particular area.
All right. And we will see you in the next video.
All right. Talk to you later.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.